L'chaim, to life. Blessing I said already. Coffee. Don't get jealous now. Don't get upset. Then I have a good cup of coffee over here. You can always come here and join. You'll also get it. How do you deal with jealousy? How do you deal when you're upset about something? Someone hurt you. Someone said something about you. Someone is saying something negative to others about you. How would you think about that person? How would you deal with that person? Okay. Welcome to Tanya today. Yes. I'm Rabbi Ronnie Fine, coming to you from Chabad Zichron Kadeshim in Montreal, Canada, where it's a privilege and a pleasure to share with you the Tanya. We conclude today chapter 12. Chapter 12, in one word, Beinani. And in 3 words, who are we? Beinani in training. The Beinani is not the righteous person and not the wicked person, but someone who has complete mastery over the garments of self-expression. There's a battle. Life is a battle. And at times we feel a sense of jealousy or even anger. Maybe not anger, frustration with other people, with situations that we're in. How do we handle it? Well, today we're going to learn how the Beinani handles. So we explained that the Beinani, this not righteous person, and what makes the Beinani not righteous is that the Beinani does not have complete dominion over the personality, his personality, her personality. What is the personality of the person? It's your emotional makeup. It's your personality. And that is based on your perception. So you're in the 10 powers of the soul, the 3 dimensions of intelligence, Chachma, Bina, V'das, Chabad, wisdom, understanding, and knowledge, and the 7 emotions, that the Beinani does not have dominion over. The righteous has transformed even the urges of the heart, even the inner feelings of jealousy. There's no jealousy by the righteous, no anger by the righteous. That doesn't mean that they might not display, as we know, Moses displayed anger, but not because he was personally, oh, you hurt my feelings or you did something against me. No, as in his position as a leader of the Jewish people, this is what the people needed. They needed a strong, a strong look at them, a angered disposition to get them in line. Now, when we get frustrated and anger, that's usually not the case, right? But that's the righteous. So we learn about the Beinani, that love that the righteous have at all time for God, the hate that they have for anything that's against, is not directed towards God. They hate it. That doesn't mean they hate a person that acts that way. They hate that kind of notion, that kind of behavior. But for the Beinani, who only has that love of God that's passionate in time of prayer, The rest of the day, they have what's called the Ava Mesuteres, a hidden love, which we will have more understanding of that forthcoming. But the hidden love gives them enough strength that they go through their day and have mastery over the garments of self-expression, which means thought, speech, and action. And never will there be in the life of the Beinoni a action that will be against the will of God, words that are inappropriate, God forbid, or even a cogitated, willful, meditated thought that is negative. It won't happen. It's just not going to happen. Will the struggle be there? Will a negative thought come up? Absolutely. Why do negative thoughts come up to a person? It's because there's negativity in your heart. And we think about, or we're prompted to think about, the things that weigh heavy on our heart, for good and for bad. So if we have some negativity in our heart, like there's someone ill in our family, and that produces a heavy heart, because our perception of that, the ill person of a loved one is painful, so that the perception of it creates a pain in the heart, and therefore what will happen? You're going to think about it in a negative way. Well, what's going to be? How's it going to, right? The fact that you will think, oh, I don't know what's going to end up being, what's going to happen, and you're concerned, all of that is negative. It will come up to the Beinoni, but the Beinoni will not entertain it. Will not entertain it. The Beinoni will choose to push away such a negative thought. When we can't push away that thought, it's a sign that we have lost our freedom of choice. The fact that we're so taken by it, we've lost our freedom of choice. The Beinoni has freedom of choice at all time and chooses not to think that negative thought. Someone who will think that is because they have abdicated their choice. Basically, they've abdicated their choice. So what comes out by a Beinoni, there will never be, for a single moment, willingness to entertain a negative, evil thought. Not for a moment. And that also is when it comes between man and man. Between people. Others, you can say negative thought towards God, of course, okay, that we get. How about negative thought towards another? So as soon as it will arise in the heart, because it will arise in the heart of the Beinoni, because the Beinoni is not righteous, so there will be negativity, there will be a hatred, there will be a jealousy, there will be anxiety in the heart, because the Beinoni has not transformed it. Fine, that's okay. But the moment that grudge, animosity rises from the heart to the mind to think, Beinoni refuses to think of them. And this is now, the Alter Rebbe says, not only refuses to think of them, this is going now the extra step. This is an important lesson for all of us. What is that? The Beinoni will actually do the contrary. prevail and dominate over the feelings of the heart and do the exact opposite of what the heart wants. In other words, the heart is jealous. The heart is anxious. The heart is feeling a hatred towards somebody. All of those things, right? And the Beinoni will conduct themselves towards another individual. And when we talk about over here, we're not talking about Hamas. Hamas is just shoot, right? We're not talking towards Hamas. We're not talking about that. We're talking about your neighbor. We're talking about your fellow congregant in synagogue who gets your ire up, right? We're talking about a family member who you might be jealous of or have some animosity because, they said something about you. So here says the Alter Rebbe that you will conduct yourself towards that person with kindness. In other words, your heart is telling you jealousy, hatred, animosity, whatever, right? That's your heart. What's your conduct? The complete opposite. You're going to display a actually disproportionate form of love to the person who makes you suffer. Au contraire, to any place. No therapist will ever tell you that. Proof positive that as much as therapy may help, we got to learn Tanya. It's going to help even more. As the phrase goes, to repay offenders with favors. Again, this is not talking about, we're not talking about, a Hitler, we're not talking about a Nazi, we're not talking about Hamas, or whatever. We're talking about your family member who you have animosity towards, your fellow congregant in shul, who they said something towards you and you have some ill feelings in your heart. Fine. Those ill feelings we're not righteous. We're not going to, but what we have to do, or what the Beinoni does rather, and again, reminder, we are Beinoni in training, is to, au contraire, repay the offenders with favors. And this is what's taught in the Zohar that we need to learn from Joseph, in his conduct with his brothers, that he repaid them, that the brothers made him suffer, put him into a pit, wanted to kill him, sold him off into slavery. He was, years in prison. And what does he say to his brothers? You had ill intent, but God had an intent for good. I have no animosity towards you. God meant it for good. And therefore, I'm going to do good to you. Because it's all good. This is something, folks, a take home for today. Take home for today is try for the next day to have when an ill feeling comes from the heart, not only push away that ill feeling towards that loved one, but bend it the other way. Do something kind and wonderful to that person. Do something kind and wonderful for them. Life is not tit for tat, unless we choose tit for tat. Life is what we choose and want to make out of it. So, to tie this in with some of the TRC teachings, Tanya Rabbi community, as we learn that we're whole, complete, and worthy, not because we did something, because we are something. We could look at ourselves that way, or we could look at ourselves as broken people, which usually that's how we look at ourselves. I'm full of anger. I have animosity. I have jealousy. I have anxiety because of the situation. Right? So I'm broken. Well, in our heart, that's true. But that's, first of all, not who we are. And we could choose not to be that way. So in our wholeness, what does that mean, you're whole, complete? It means that we are caring, we are empathetic, and we're giving. Why? Why do you care? Why are you empathetic? Why are you giving? Just because. You choose to be that because ultimately that's a reflection of the divine, of God. So I'm not giving in order to, to make me feel good. I'm not giving so I should get something in return, even a good feeling. I'm giving because I'm a giver. Period. Not because you deserve, I give. When you look at yourself that way, that you're just a giver, because that's a divine way to be. And that comes from the wholeness of who you are. Therefore, when someone hurts you, you could still be giving to them. Because you won't identify with your brokenness, although there are things that are broken in us, but you'll identify with your wholeness and still be able to give to that person. Still to even be caring for that person. And still be able to be empathetic for that person. Why? Because your caring isn't, well, he cared for me, so I'm going to care for him. He did for me, so I'll do for him. That's a broken way to live. Because you'll only be that way when it's suitable for you. And there'll be times it won't be suitable. So it's not whole. That's not complete. But if you are that way because you are that way, because you choose to be that way, you choose that is the identity of your wholeness, of your neshama, of your soul. So then, even when a person will do ill to you, are you whole? Are you still complete? Are you broken? Well, if you're still whole and complete, so you can still give to that person. But if I'm broken, and now the person broke me more because they said something ill to me, then of course, how am I going to repay, the offender with a favor? I'm not going to be able to do that because I'm sensing my brokenness. I'm feeling more broken by the offender's words towards me. So, BITs, Beinoni in training. That's who we are. Let's train with this the next day or so, with this notion of that someone, that a negative feeling we have towards, and it came to thought because of something, we actually repay that offender with a favor. Whether it's an act of kindness, whether it's something empathetic, whatever, with a kindness towards them. I hope we're all on board with this one. It's a game changer. The truth is, every day we learn, Tanya, it's a game changer. We welcome Elise from North Carolina, Louise from Sydney, Australia. Carmen is with us from You have to remind me, Carmen. David from Sacramento, California. Diane in Arizona. In Waterbury, Connecticut, we have Sir. Is it? And it's not Sarah. It's Saraya. Saraya. Nancy in Massachusetts is with us. We have Moshe in California. I don't know if that's where you are now, but Tessin is with us. Are you up for? No, not the first time. You're right. Oh, in Karachi. That's in Pakistan. Thank you. Rena in Colorado, John in North Carolina, Leah in Florida, Zara in Malaysia, Carmen is in Texas. Beautiful. Who else is with us? Akoya in Lima, Peru. Steve is with us. Color Expression. Rachel in South Carolina. Alice in Baltimore. Nancy. I didn't see Clem. Clem is there? Oh, Clea. Oh, Clem in Brisbane, Australia. Okay, you should be gesund and well. You should see. You should be able to see the favors that you do. Simcha in Florida. Alisheva in Rochester. I don't know if it's the first time you're here with us, Alisheva, but welcome. Huh? Yeah, mentioned her. Yeah. I think I got everybody. Not everybody is here on the feed right now. Beautiful. All right. This is something to live with. What's so beautiful is the freedom of choice that we have, that the empowerment, that we have a heart that could be bent like this. But we could choose to not let our heart, and this is so, so contrary to Western culture today, that, that's my feelings, and my feelings trump everything. Sounds like a guy that, would say that. Whatever I feel, I gotta express. After all, it's my feelings. No. Just because you feel it doesn't mean that's what you should live. We have negative feelings, bend yourself to the opposite. Do the favor to that person. Again, we're not speaking about the evil or evildoers. We're talking about the people in your close circle. Because those are the people we have the most negative feelings towards, ultimately. Okay, Johan has a question. I didn't see it. What about reciprocation? What about it, Johan? Why are you... We are talking about reciprocating. Reciprocate the offender with kindness. That's the reciprocation. Again, I know, yeah, but you got to teach that person a lesson. Maybe not. But not when the negative feeling comes up to you. When the negative feeling comes to you about that person, it's not a time to reciprocate them and give it to them. No. That's coming from a bad place. Bend the other direction and do a favor. Then, at another point in time, maybe you have to say something, right, to that person. Maybe not. It depends if you're going to have an influence, an impact upon them. If you will, then yes. If you won't, so then you don't share. In the end, I'm responsible for my behavior, not for someone else's behavior. If I can impact another person, that's a different story. but not in the moment when you're feeling the negativity in your heart that rose then to your thought. Remember, negativity in your heart. That's what whatever you have strong feelings in your heart is going to come to your mind, and that's what you're going to think. So that came to your thought now. Now what you got to do is bend the other way in your behavior and act in a kind way. And you could really mean it, by the way, even if you don't mean it, right? Because your heart's telling you otherwise, but you could actually really mean it. Because when you know that this is the truth, that this is the way to be, you could really be authentic and mean it, even though you don't have the full feeling in your heart. And that's a real Beinoni in training. All right, folks. You're amazing. All of you. You're all amazing. All amazing that you are going to incorporate this in your life. And you're going to work with it. And we're going to talk about it this Sunday night in TRC. Okay? And whoever wants to talk about this further in TRC and is not yet a member of it, let me know. If you'd like to be a part of this. Okay? Private message me. I'm Rabbi Ronnie Fine, coming to you from Chabad Zichron Kadesh, Montreal, Canada. It's a privilege and pleasure to share with you the Tanya. Rambam is coming up next, and you don't want to miss the laws of damages. Fascinating. It's all fascinating. It's God's Torah. God bless you all.